I want you to go out and recognize one of your employees. Thank them for something they did. Try to be as specific as possible about what they did and then encourage them to keep it up. And then see how you'll feel too. Because every time you participate in acknowledging somebody, it comes back to you tenfold.
Expanding possibilities, the mindset zone.
I'm your host, Melikian. I'm here to support you, increase your impact while preventing burnout. The Mindset Zone is a place to pause, increase your self-awareness, and embrace the experimentation mindset. Find more resources, including information about the Mindset Zone book and audiobook at mindset.zone. Yes, instead of .com is .zone. Today, our special guest is Cindy Zurchin. Cindy is a visionary leader with 30 plus years of experience in transforming workplace culture. Welcome to the Mindset Zone, Cindy.
Thank you so much. It is a pleasure to be here with you today.
And I was really looking forward to our conversation because you have this fascinating perspective that the typical 9 to 5 workday can actually be fun. What do you mean by that?
Right. So think about it. Everybody wants to have fun. You don't hear people say, "Oh, I want to go do something that's boring and terrible." But somehow then when they talk about work, they're like, "Oh, I got to go to work. I don't want to go to work." So think about work as an environment where your coworkers and your bosses, everybody trusts each other. They work to support each other professionally and personally. They share their successes and their challenges openly. It's a positive place. People are friendly. They collaborate. They recognize each other for doing good things. People actually talk to each other. The fuel of an organization like that is trust. When employees feel trusted, they are willing to take risks. They'll share bold ideas. They want to contribute. They want to mix things up a little bit, learn new things, take on challenges. You get this balance between work intensity and then some downtime. People laugh in the workplace. Work is not a burden. It's just an enjoyable part of their life. It's fun. Who wants to have fun? Everybody wants to have fun.
And I love that. I love that we can make, because let's be honest, we spend a ton of our time, of our life in our work, doing our work. And some of us are more lucky than others that we have more control over our workplace. And the thing about making our work meaningful and enjoyable and fun, I think is a great perspective. It's my mindset about work. How can we make this meaningful? How can we make this impactful and enjoyable at the same time? And at the same time, I know that many people are going to be a little bit, yes, it's nice to say, but the reality of my workplace is very different. And fun is not a word that associate with it, because unfortunately, the reality is that many workplaces are plagued with toxicity and not fun at all. So from your experience, and knowing that it's possible to create that fun workplaces, and knowing that most workplaces are not that, are more to the toxic side. If you have a scale of toxic to fun, many people will identify somebody down the scale and not up the scale. Tell me a little bit more about your vision of the toxic workplace culture, and then we will take it from there.
Sure. And I could tell you stories, some that would make you laugh, some that would make you cry. But the reality is toxic workplaces, there's no shortage of them, unfortunately. I work with it all the time. I hear from people. One of the main things people will say to me is everybody just keeps their head down, keep a low profile. We don't want anybody to say anything because if you speak up, You're going to get yelled at, you get screamed at, you get bullied, you get embarrassed. People will not offer ideas. Normally, you'll see in companies like that, everyone's talking about the next holiday, the next vacation. They're all looking for jobs, constant turnover. And people, unfortunately, often even let mistakes go on in companies like that because they don't dare speak up because the people will just swoop down on them and just terrorize, make their lives terrible. People can't wait to get out of the place. It's a harmful, negative environment. Workplace PTSD is a real thing. It impacts the employee morale, their well being, and certainly the productivity of the company. You see lots of blame shifting in those companies. Everybody is quick to assign blame instead of focusing on a solution. It's the low trust, no trust environment. It's terrible.
Even when somebody's trying to change that, it's so challenging to do that. And I think you have your own story that you used to uh, embrace a style of management early in your career that, in reflection, was not an engine of change, correct?
Yes. So I grew up in a household where my father had a family business and he worked day and night. He was very caring to his employees, to his customers. I mean, often at the end of the day, he would bring home a pie that one of his customers had given to him or brought to the office. He was truly a caring and loving person. And then I went to work for an organization and it was a very large organization. And I was very eager and excited to rise up in the organization and be promoted and work very hard. But I saw the people that were getting promoted, they were mean. They would yell at people, they would embarrass people, and it was their way of getting people to work harder, to work more. And other people would say, yes, they're strong, they're tough. You got to be strong, you got to be tough. So I kept thinking to myself, oh, a family business, you can be nice and caring and loving with your employees and your customers. But when you get to big business, then you got to be tough. You got to be mean. You got to be strong. That's the only way you get things done. So I clearly remember one day I was meeting with an employee and we were going to be issuing some discipline. And it was a woman and she started to cry. And I said to the other person there, I said, don't give her a Kleenex. And at the moment that I said that, oh my God, I felt like my heart broke. But at the same time, I thought, but they'll know I'm strong. They'll know that I can do this job. I can move up in the organization. I can lead. And it felt so terrible afterwards. To this day, we still remember it as clear as anything. And I thought afterwards, I thought, you know what? I will never again do anything like that. I'm just going to be me. I have to be me. I cannot be a leader who is just not caring about the people. It felt terrible, absolutely terrible.
And I love this that you relate about your dad family business because seems like that was a fun place to work. That's more closer to what you described in the beginning. And then in your own professional journey, corporate America, oh, we have to be tough, we have to be rough. You have to be somebody that you are not. T- Tell us the journey from there to your work now, where you help organizations of big size organizations to develop more, go from the toxic to the fun. So tell us a little bit about that journey and the work you do nowadays.
Sure. I went back to the leadership style that I learned from my dad, which was to create a positive, people centric work environment. And then I went on to really become a strong advocate of servant leadership. That you can lead with your heart. You can be caring and be very effective at the same time. Leadership's clearly about vision and values and the goals of your organization. But as a servant leader, it's about caring for the people inside and outside. When you are giving, you're on the right path. I was very fortunate that I had an opportunity. I worked directly with Ken and Margie Blanchard, which are two of the most influential leadership experts in the world. I learned firsthand about servant leadership and being able to no longer worry about people saying that kindness is weakness. Kindness is not weakness. You can still take care of business. I have this big plaque in my office here that says, it's a rare person who can take care of the heart while also taking care of business. And I just became a steward of servant leadership and working to create environments where employees feel valued, they're motivated, and they're empowered to succeed because everybody wins. And isn't it wonderful when everybody wins? As Zig Ziglar said, another one of my mentors, I'll see you at the top. It works.
Yeah. And I'm very interesting. When Odyssey, you are telling us about that episode, Don't Give Her the Kleenex. You realize that no, I don't want to be this person, this leader. How was the process of change? It was in the same job that you start to learn about other styles of leadership? Did you have to change jobs? Tell us a little bit about your own story there.
My own story was I left the organization. I did because as I started to really learn more about servant leadership and practice and encourage others to use servant leadership, it was just the organization was just not, it was toxic. And they were not welcoming of being nice and being kind to people. Even though they were an organization focused on working and serving the needs of others, there was a lack of congruency between their mission and their values and what they were actually implementing. The journey is sometimes better to take and start a new path. And that's what I did. I had an opportunity then to really lead several large organizations with multi-million dollar budgets where people were not afraid to know that we're going to care about you as employees, but we're also going to get the job done. We're going to work together. And I certainly have made lots of mistakes in my time. And I encourage everybody that I work with always to, whatever mistakes happen, whoever makes them, it's not a mistake. It's just going to be a challenge. We're going to work through it. We can do it together.
So can you tell us about a specific story of organization you work with that you managed to be part of that transition from a culture of toxic to a culture of thriving?
I've worked with a lot of small and large businesses, healthcare organizations, educational facilities. But let me tell you about the transformation of a school. It was a school in a large urban setting, a public school. 93% of the students were living below the poverty level. The students were coming from communities with some of the highest rates of residents on parole and probation. There was a high rate of students being suspended, low achievement. The staff was always looking to leave, unfortunately, or to transfer. And I had the opportunity and the challenge to lead the organization to focus on building trust, activating their positive, and redirecting mistakes because we know there is no perfect. And today I call those strategies raise the bar because I'm always looking to help organizations raise the bar in their personal and professional life. So I led trainings focusing on how do we build trust? I was working with staffs of people to build trust with the students who at that time were their customers and their clients. The people changed through activities and training of what they were focusing on. Instead of focusing on everything that was wrong and all the fighting and low achievement that was occurring, they began to focus on all the wonderful things the students were doing, even if it was just in the direction of right, even if it's not 100% right, because change takes time. It was like miracles had been created. People all of a sudden were realizing it was different. And what was different was what we were focusing on. What you focus on is what you get more of. It's like somebody who says, "Oh, I got a new car. Wow." And I got a new car that it's a red car. And I think everybody's driving a red car. What you focus on is what you get more of. We increased achievement. We increased the participation with the parents. Nobody wanted to leave the school. We had a waiting list of students and people wanting to come and work there. Actually, you can read the true story of what happened, the transformation of the school. We authored a book called The Well Done School, and it is sold on Amazon. So before I tell you the whole story of everything that happened, you could certainly purchase it on Amazon to read how we did create miracles. And the strategies, Anna, I can tell you, I have taught them to people across the whole entire United States. They work over and over again. They're easy to understand. The hard work is in the implementation.
And that's to do with your process raising the bar, BAR. That is
Yes.
building trust. And tell us about the other two elements.
Yes, building trust, activating the positive, and redirecting mistakes when they occur. Redirecting mistakes for yourself and for others when they occur, because we know mistakes are always going to happen and there is no perfect. Like you say, it's about taking that pause, that moment in between to redirect what will happen next. And people want to be recognized. Some people say, I hear all the time, people say to me, our company has an employee recognition program. Once a month, we recognize somebody, or at the end of the year, we recognize an employee. Oh my goodness, don't ration recognition. We don't have to wait a month to recognize somebody. We don't have to wait a year. I don't think companies are waiting a full month or a year to look at the bottom line of their profits on how things are going. So let's consider the people equally as important as the product that they're producing.
I love about raise the bar, your model, is that it's implicit there that you are going to meet a certain standard and a certain outcome. You are raising the bar, and you can do it in a way that is thrilling, that is exciting, that is fun. Because usually when people think about, oh, a fun workplace, oh, it's going to get anything done. Yes, we are going to get things done, and we are going to enjoy the process.
Exactly. And if you think about it, no 2 days are the same. And we are so now on the cutting edge of innovation that you're either going forward or you're going back. So when you have a company workplace culture where everybody is focused on being active, looking for the best process, the best way to move forward, you're going to be on the cutting, leading edge of remaining from the top companies and organizations.
So it's really the interplay of the trust, the positivity that you were describing before, of the recognition of things that went well. So let's feed that. So trust, positivity, and innovation, and redirect, because redirecting the mistakes in many ways is the innovation. We have to do things to see what work, what doesn't work, and keep feeding and keep evolving from that.
Exactly, exactly. I always say to people when some companies, sometimes what holds companies back is that we've always done it this way. We're going to remain to do it this way. And I say, do you still use the same technology? Do you still have punch cards? Do you still have a switchboard? Think about your phone. I think we can do a little bit better than this. Um,
And what advice is, so to say, if a leader is listening to this, maybe somebody that start in their position recently that wants to do things in a different way, but unfortunately they have in their hands a culture that is a little bit to the toxic side. But now they are managing that place, they are leading at least that team. What can they do to start changing that toxic work culture and lead better?
That's a great question. One of the first things when I talk with people, and like you said, some of the people that are listening today, I say, take a hard look first at yourself to be able to know who you are personally and professionally. What are your values? What do you stand for? And then think about what are you willing to do to support your employees and your customers? Are you willing to step out and make a bold statement? Because sometimes with some companies, that could mean that you might be fired. So are you willing to put yourself that risk on the line to know because you believe in yourself and you believe in your company that it can be better and you can take it to the new level? I say, what is your purpose? And is what you're currently doing working for you?
And I know that situations are very different and people in many positions, but that look being aware. And I can even see that question that is so important to ask, even in small to medium sized business, that the founder is still the very involved. And when they start, was a fun culture, was nice to go to work, was a family, and then they scale, they grow, and it's not the same thing. And those people that are the founder is still there, they can do something about it in their power. It's not just because they are a bigger company that they have to let go of their values, of their vision, of their mission, and still achieve a lot and having enjoying the process too.
That is so true. I have seen companies that have had great success that have been very small. I'm talking companies under 25 or 50 people to companies that have thousands of employees. And no two companies look the same. There are certainly some differences and some things that are going to really work well in one company and maybe going to look a little different in another company.
So there is that first step, looking inside, making or decide you want to take the risk. And then what?
I think they should give me a call.
Yes, that for sure.
Yeah, because certainly I can help them with some quick wins that they can help build some momentum. What'll actually motivate them and their employees to know that, hey, yes, this feels really good. And then they can invest in a long term cultural change because it's not a light switch. I don't have a magic wand. I wish I did that I can come in and say, abracadabra, wonderful workplace now. But I can help you with some quick wins. I say to everybody who's listening today, put a smile on your face. Have an attitude of gratitude for your customers and your employees. And when you're done listening to this podcast, I want you to go out and recognize one of your employees. Thank them for something they did. Try to be as specific as possible about what they did, and then encourage them to keep it up. And then see how you feel too. Because every time you participate in acknowledging somebody, it comes back to you tenfold. It works.
I love it. First, you have to have hope that things can change. If people have and are in a toxic work culture, sometimes feels like there is no way of changing it. And it's good to have examples like you describe of the school that you have in the book that shows no, this is possible to change. And you have so many examples in your work, body of work that shows that. So having that is possible to change. And yes, companies and leaders can go trial and error and try to change, but I think you nail a very important thing. If we get quick wins in the beginning, we get the motivation, that positivity cycle there that will help the energy and the effort that are necessary to do the transformation that leads from toxicity to thriving. And working with experts like you sometimes is the clever way of doing and the easier way of doing it.
I can tell you, very, very large corporation, General Motors, they did a grassroots effort where they focused on, at one point, building morale, strengthening their teamwork, and then paying it forward. And I just recently talked to the gentleman who led that initiative because he recently retired. And he said to me, he said, Cindy, it just became a way of life. And that's what I say. All of this just becomes a way of life in your personal and your professional life. You will see your personal life improve and your professional life.
I'm all about, in terms of work, I have a plan, I have a strategy, but is that old saying, culture, it's strategy for lunch. If we don't have the right culture and the right environment, you can have the best strategy, the best plan, things will not gel the same way.
You are so right. You are so right.
And I think nowadays in this world with so much changes, we really have to spend some time speaking about how can we build this a thriving work culture that people enjoy being and that is fun and makes them want to come to work.
Right. You hear companies all the time saying it's hard to find employees, hard to find employees. When I work with companies, I say when you invest in creating a culture, such as a fun workplace culture, word is out there and the employees will be coming to you asking, when's your next opening?
Yes, and you can do that by raising the bar and achieving your business goals while making a difference in people's lives too, including your employees.
Yes. Yes. I love it.
So, how can people learn more about you and your work?
So I encourage you to visit my website, Dr. Cindy Zurchin, Z as in zebra, URCHIN.com. And feel free to reach out for me. You can email me, Cindy at drcindyzurchin.com. You can call me directly or text me at 412-418-7498. I'm happy to provide people with a free 30-minute consultation talking about the effectiveness of their workplace culture. I can't tell you, I love the opportunity to collaborate and contribute to the success of organizations and companies. I can help equip them with the practical tools and insights to achieve their goals. And they'll see it creates a ripple effect of positivity and productivity. So thank you so much for the opportunity.
And I will make sure that I will put your website link on the show notes and also the link for the book that you mentioned. And hopefully people will take action and starting to making a difference out there.
Thank you. Have a wonderful day. And everyone, have fun in the workplace. Life is too short not to.
Expanding possibilities. The mindset zone.
If you can think of a person who will find this episode helpful, please share it. Spreading the word about the Mindset Zone podcast is very powerful. For extra resources, including information about the book and audiobook, Mindset Zone, Actualize Your Human Potential, go to mindset.zone. Yes, instead of .com is .zone. As always, I'm so grateful that you are here. Expand what's possible for you, for the ones around you, for the world.